Good morning and welcome back to Kizzy's Place. I am back at this park that I found in my neighborhood to take a nice little walk. When I was here a couple days ago, I ran into a lady. She was over here filling up jugs of water and putting them in the trunk of her car. It looked like she was living in her car. Yeah, it wasn't this lady, but there are a lot of homeless people in this area. And times are tough, and they didn't just get tough. Times have been tough for a while, but a lot of people are they're just in silence struggling, and no one is, I don't know, I won't say no one knows or cares. That's not the truth. The truth is that a lot of us are oblivious to our surroundings. And when we go to work, get up early in the morning, go to work, go to the grocery store, go to the gym, come back home, take a shower, turn on the television or turn on YouTube and sort of just dealing with our own personal lives, we don't look around. We don't look up. We're looking at our cell phone all the time. And we don't look up and see the world we're living in and see the tremendous decline of the world we're living in. And so this morning, this is my second walk this morning. I took a short walk from my house to the Circle K, which is about 3 or 4 blocks away. And on my way there is a brush. There's some overgrown bushes that are on the street side. And I noticed that there was a lot of trash and debris inside those bushes, but that there was sort of a cutout, if you will. Not really a cutout, but someone had moved the brushes away so you could get in there, but there was lots of trash and brush there. And I just, as I was walking by, in my mind, I thought, this looks like a little cave where somebody is probably sleeping. So as I passed by it, I looked back over my shoulder, and there was a woman huddled in there. Her eyes got big when she noticed that I saw her. But I just kept walking. I left her alone. And I walked on to the store. And I got myself some coffee. And then I got a second cup of coffee for her. And I said, if she's still there when I go back, I'm going to give her this cup of coffee. Look how big this bird is right here. It's a crow. This dude here, he's like a foot tall. That's a big old bird. Anyways, so after when I came back by, she had gone further back into the brush and put up a little blue tarp, and she was kind of hidden behind the tarp so you couldn't see her immediately. But I knew she was back there. So I said, hello, knock, knock. And she popped her head up and said, hello. And I said, I brought you a cup of coffee. And so then she came out and took the coffee. And she goes, oh, I said, when I saw this place, I thought it was probably a good dry place for someone might be sleeping in here. She goes, no, I just came in here to get away from my abusive husband. And I'm just kind of hiding from here in here. I said, well, I am not going to draw attention to you. I'm going to keep on walking, but I just thought I'd give you a cup of coffee to warm you up, And she introduced herself, and then I just went my way. People are hurting so much. And God made my heart so big for people. But this is one thing I know. No matter how much you care about people, unless the people themselves want to make a change in their life, you can do everything under the sun to help them. And if they're not ready to help themselves, it will just be a big, grand waste of your time. So I have learned to be available for people, but not to be hurt if they don't want to make a change. I've run into so many of them in my years of just doing outreach ministry, which is what I've done with most of my life. It's like so many people, just like once again, the lady that I saw here at this park putting jugs of water in her car. At first I was going to not say anything to her, but that's just not how I'm strong. I'm just not made that way. So I didn't get too close to her because I didn't want to freak her out. She looked like she might be an immigrant. Her speech was not American. And her body language was very like, I'm afraid somebody's gonna say something to me. So I kind of picked that up, that she's probably an immigrant. She's struggling. She's living in her car. And so I just said, hey, do you need some help with anything? And she never looked me in the eye. She never looked up. She just shook her head and said, no. And I said, are you safe out here? Are you being safe? Do you need some place to stay? Or, I actually, have a room for rent. Or I didn't say rent. I just said I have a room where you can stay if you really need it. And she just shook her head and she said, no. And so I said, okay, well, be safe out here. Be careful out here. Because she's a little woman, She's a little woman. She was not much taller than me, so I'm going to guess she's probably about 5 foot tall and very, very thin. And people are walking around here. I'm telling you, when she did speak, my guess was right. She's got a foreign accent, so she may be Haitian or Jamaican. I'm not sure. And she's just trying to lay low. I could tell by her. She was kind of cowering the whole time, like, don't look at me, don't talk to me, and I said, okay, well, be safe out here, be careful, and I said, I'll leave you alone because I don't want to scare you or anything. And she said, okay, thank you. She thanked me about 10 times as she was getting into her car and getting the rest of her water. I'm telling you, it's tough out here. It's tough. And I would venture a guess that most people, if they had to live like that, they wouldn't make it. They would not. An American person who has grown up in this country like I have and has never embraced most of the things that our ancestors taught us, just a simple, basic, live your life and, life is a struggle, but hey, I got this because nature takes care of me. That kind of thing that God has put into our ancestors. We never embraced that part. We were so excited to be able to not have to walk places, but have a car, and not have to cook food, but go through the drive-through or go to a restaurant, and not have to make our clothes, but go into the store and buy the finest or buy something off the rack. And, not have to sit down and play games, like we used to do. We used to play ball. We used to get to the park like this. Shoot, back in the day, this park would have been full of us kids running around, kicking a ball, hitting the ball. I mean, we would have been burning some calories for real, And so we, most of us have lost the basic things in life that actually keep you healthy, that keep you energized. We never even thought back in those days that all of that running around and walking 2 miles to school and carrying loads of stuff was actually saving our lives, making our lives longer. We never even thought about that, because doing that, living your life that way, and actually using your physical body for something other than just sitting there surfing the net, actually makes your life longer, because that physical activity burns off a lot of stress, and your body is made to release endorphins. That's that feel good hormone in yourself and into your bloodstream, so that no matter what's going on, once you run around and walk that 2-3 miles and carry that load, whatever, and sweat and take a shower, even though nothing's changed around you, you feel pretty good. You feel pretty good. And we have lost that understanding. I think about, back in the day when I was growing up, like I said, we were never allowed to just be sitting in the house. Because they would tell you stuff like, don't be sitting in here, being all up in grown folks' business. I know those of you who are, from my culture, you've heard that many, many times. Don't be sitting in here trying to be all up in grown folks' business. Go on outside and play, And they sent you outside in a hot minute. And if they come outside and you ain't playing, they find some work for you to do. Well, since you can't go over there and play, and you're gonna be sitting here being lazy, get that rake and rake these leaves. Since you don't want to go do what I told you, you don't want to go out there and play. How about you go over there and dig something up in the garden? Why don't you go over there and clean the outhouse? Why don't you go and clean the bathroom? Why don't you go wash the dishes? I mean, they always kept us busy doing something. They did not let us just sit around and be lazy. They just did not. Lazy was not in the vocabulary of people I grew up with. It's like you had to be doing something. And it's almost like a underlying message. Look, you live to be busy. You live to work. So if you are sitting on your rump and you're not working, you better be doing that, because you are resting up for the next bit of work that you need to do. That is the way we lived our lives. And I would venture a guess that is why in this generation, the young people are dying faster than the elders. Why? Because the elders were taught a good work ethic. The elders were taught that they need to be busy. Their mind needs to be engaged. Their body needs to be in motion. And when they stop being in motion, it's the beginning of the end. I know this is a crazy talk, but yeah, it blesses me. By the way, I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel. Hit the like button. Please do that, and show me some love. And also, you know how it works. And also put a comment below. I don't get very many comments. I don't know if people don't agree with me and they don't want to hurt my feelings, or if they just are not commenters. I have no idea. But feel free to comment, I thank you for being my accountability partner. This is my 3rd day in a row going for a long walk. As you saw with yesterday's post, I did over 10,000 steps. I was really, really proud of myself. And so I am really thankful for getting back on the routine of walking every day. It really has been boosting my energy. It's been boosting my good feelings, and getting outside and breathing fresh air, like in this park, is a blessing. It's a real blessing. And listening to nature, even though these crows are kind of scary, they're huge, but just listening to nature is also a blessing. But all I can say is, in all my years of just observing people, Some people are just, I don't know. It's like they are not just lost. When we say lost, you think, okay, it's a religious thing. They don't know Christ. But beyond that, they are lost. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm just clueless. That's what it really is. It's not so much lost, it's clueless. Clueless. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Because, other than my exercise program, a part of what I do here is frugal living, things that will help you to save money and live frugally. And one of those things, one thing that happened recently is I was in the grocery store, and I'm next in line behind a young lady who looked like she might have been in her late 30s, somewhere in there. And she had her items up on the counter, and she was, preparing to pay for it. And the clerk told her how much it was. She punched some app in her phone, and she put it up there to scan it to, pay for her items. Well, the scan didn't work. Now, I don't know whether because it's saying she didn't have enough money, whether her app was not working, whether their equipment was not working to scan it. I don't know. But several times she was trying to scan her app from her phone so that she could pay for these items. And she did it like several times, and it wasn't working. So finally the clerk said, okay, well, she goes, I know this thing I don't know why it's doing that. And so the clerk said, well, how about you stand aside, and then let me just keep on working with the people in the line. And then once you get it working, you can come on back. I'll take you next. So she had a very, like, I don't know what to do look on her face, just like totally lost. Like, what do I do now? I mean, how do I handle this? What do I do? And she was just like I said, that's that lost thing I was just mentioning. Lost, don't know what to do, don't have a clue. And a lot of times, people using technology, they use technology for everything. And I just think that's a big mistake. It's a big mistake to use technology for everything. It's your entertainment center. It's your phone book. It's your telephone. It's your wallet. It's your everything. I think it's a big mistake. If you're using your phone for everything, I would suggest that you go a bit old school on some of the things and have a backup plan in case, the internet goes down, your app doesn't work. Hey, the people who made your app went out of business or sold themselves to Elon Musk. What are you going to do if your app is not working the way that you expect it to work? What are you going to do if all of your money is in an internet bank and that bank goes under and no one told you? Because trust me, they're not going to give you too much warning, and you didn't have time to remove your funds from that, and then you're just standing there stuck. What are you going to do if something happens with our new leaders, and they decide, okay, we're going to get rid of these EBT cards and apps or whatever. I don't know if people have EBT apps, but what are you going to do if you can no longer swipe and buy your items? Or they just decided, as of today, there will be no more food stamps. You will not be able to buy that way. If you need food, we're going to have a big truck, and you have to meet up with that truck, and get the food that you need, because we are no longer going to have a card where you can go into any grocery store and swipe it and buy what you want. We're going to give you the food we want you to eat. We are not going to let you buy what you want anymore. Wow. Just imagine how that would affect people. They would just be stymied. Just like this young lady, she was just completely stymied because her app didn't work on her phone. And I just shook my head and I said, we're in big trouble. We're headed for some big trouble because people are so lost. They don't have a clue what to do. They have been dumbed down so much that they don't even know. Hey, they're not even paying attention to the simple things like, you need to have some cash. You always have some cash. Let me tell you, whoever's listening to this, always have some cash. Because you never know when the bottom might fall out. So then what are you going to do? Your app doesn't work. The internet's down. What are you going to do? It's a sad thing to not have any kind of backup plan whatsoever. So that is one of the reasons why I said so many people that I meet, they're just, hello, good morning, they're just lost. And it concerns me, especially for my own people, because we really, if we had kept the gems that were given to us from our ancestors, just kept the gems. I mean, not like you have to just always live like they did and struggle like they did. And I mean, I'm sure that if they could see us from wherever they are resting right now, they would say, I'm so glad that they're not having to go through what we went through. I'm so glad that God has elevated them to have money in their pocket, to have money in the bank, to be able to drive, to be able to have some beauty in their life and not always be subject to the master. I'm sure they would be happy about that. But at the same time, I'm sure they would be disappointed that all the things they were trying to teach us when we were kids about the basics of life that sustain you in hardship, because that's been one of our main strengths in our culture. One of the main strengths is that we are survivors, that we sometimes are the last man standing when it comes to hardship. If you remove everything, most likely that person of color, that person that grew up in hardship, they're going to be the ones that are standing, because they know, they look around and they could look around this park and know that growing up with this grass is something that is edible, that they could put in their pot and eat it. We have lost that. We have lost the ability to be able to forage, to be able to know how to survive if everything is stripped away. In all honesty, if everything is stripped away, you should still be able to live. That is one of the reasons why I love camping. And I think that it's a good thing. If you've never been camping, go with somebody who knows what they're doing and learn. And try to learn from the most basic level that you possibly can. By that I mean, take all the bells and whistles off of it. What are you going to do when it gets dark at night? What are you going to do when you need some water to drink? What are you going to do when you have to eat some food and you're out in the wilderness? It's like you need to know how to survive. Some people can survive glamping. And when I say glamping, I mean they have all the bells and whistles. They've got solar power, and they've got a generator, and they've got, all of that is all well and good, but everybody cannot afford it, you know. So what if you can't afford a generator? What if you can't afford solar panels? What if you can't afford um, an, a RV, with the bathroom in it? What if you can't afford any of that and it's just you? If you got dropped into a camp zone with absolutely nothing but something you could carry on your back, okay, one of those bug out bags, how long could you survive? Would you know what to do? Would you know what to do to survive just even one night, so that you don't die from exposure to the temperature drop? Would you know what to do as far as eating is concerned? When you run out of your rations that you can pull out of a can and out of a package, would you know what to do, how to survive? This is important, especially coming up on 2025. You see, because if we find ourselves in such a situation, it should just be like a laughable problem to many of us who had the grandparents that we had. It should be laughable. It's like, well, okay, so I don't have a house. Okay, so I don't have electricity. Okay, so I don't have, all of the fancy bells and whistles. Okay, but I'm still going to survive. It should be laughable to us, because we should have the skills necessary to still be standing at the end of all of the madness. Yeah, so you may think I'm crazy in that comment, but it's the absolute truth. The young lady standing there with with her cell phone and just, having a meltdown because the app wouldn't work, and whatever the issue was where she couldn't get to her money, or the money wasn't there, whatever it is. I mean, come on now. Let that teach you a lesson. I mean, I almost felt like pulling her aside and just saying to her, hey, never, ever, ever leave all of your money in one spot, in one app, because it's convenient, Don't go for that noise. It's convenient to put all your money in an internet bank or on an app and just tap whenever you want to pay for something. That sounds really cool, doesn't it? No, it's not cool, because you're putting all of your trust in one area. You need to spread it out. You need to have some cash. You need to have, some money in a bank, and you need to have some money in another bank. I don't care if it's $20 over there, $100 over there, and $100 in your pocket. Spread your money out. When you get a paycheck, don't just put it all in one spot. Have them, you know how they do, they tell you, okay, well, you can have your paycheck deposited early. If you come to our bank, you get your money 2 days early. And that sounds really cool, right? It just means you're going to spend up your money faster than you should. But you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you have this app on your phone, and you can just, like, wherever you go, you just tap, tap, tap. And some of these services like that, every time you buy something, they charge a fee, but they charge you a fee. So think about that. Why are you getting your really small little paycheck in the first place? Okay, so let's just say you got a paycheck, and your paycheck was $500 for this week, or that's a lot for many people. But let's just say you got a $500 check. $500 got deposited to your internet bank or to your app, and you got it 2 days early. Woohoo! Because you've got this, this special service, that gives you your money 2 days early, special account. But every time, the thing that people don't do is people don't read. Because if you read very carefully, you may find that in using that app or using that service, every time you buy something, they charge you a fee. I don't care if they charge you 10 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents, $2.25 every time you tap that app. Look how it's just eating a hole in your pocket. It's a lot of money, you know. Just think if they charge you $2 every time you bought something. Okay, so you bought something at Walmart, then you went and you bought something, you bought gas. These are all normal things you have to do, you know, and then you pulled out cash because you had to give something to your kids. And okay, so now you've tapped that thing about 5 times. And if it's $2 for each one of those, you've just thrown away $10. $10 that you could have used to put in your gas tank, to buy more food. There are so many things that you could have done with that rather than pay the system. So they tell you this is free, but it's not free. You know, don't fall for that. Nothing is really fully free. They can't afford to just give you these services. Okay, there's going to be some kind of way that they're going to get paid for providing these services to you. So keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind, and don't be lost. So lost you just like, what am I gonna do? I have a real tough question for everyone who's listening right now. Okay, if you've been with me this far on this walk, I want you to ask yourself this question. If in the next 5 minutes, I'm not even going to give you time, if in the next 5 minutes the internet went down, and wherever you are right this minute, that's wherever you are. Right now I'm in a park, but you might be in a grocery store. You might be in a gym, walking on a treadmill. You might be at the beach, sitting on the sand, watching the ocean. You might be in your living room, watching the television, looking at the game. You might be sitting in church, listening to the pastor speak. Or you might be on the road driving to or from somewhere. Wherever you are right this very minute, if the internet went down in 5 minutes from now, okay, and you were told it is not going to be coming back up for indefinitely, because we don't know what just happened. The whole country is without internet. In 5 minutes from now, okay, how would that affect your life? What do you think would happen? Have you ever seen what happens when the internet goes down and you're standing in line at a fast food restaurant, or you're in a drive up and they're, I'm sorry, but we can't serve you now because the internet went down and we can't use the register. So sorry, we're closing. Guess what? That's going to happen all over the place. Stores are going to shut down for a minute, for a while, until they figure out how to take your money without the internet, because people don't really know how to do that. You know, that's a whole nother subject. So what do you think is going to happen? A lot of weird things are going to happen. Street lights will stop working. You know, some of them, because a lot of stuff is based on the internet and everything is kind of connected through the net. Your bank might close. The lights and the power might go off wherever you are. You might be, you know, if you're on the beach, you're going to be oblivious. You won't feel it at all. You'll just be sitting on the beach, and it'll be like an hour or two when you decide to go home that you find out the world has changed. You know, I should say the internet goes down and the power goes out. See, if the power goes out in the middle of the day, nobody really paying close attention. But in 5 minutes from now, if the power goes out, because I'm walking right now, I'd notice if the internet went out, because I'm actually recording this video. Actually, I may not, because I might, because I'm just recording this video on my phone. I'm not live right now. If I were live, I would notice immediately something's going on. But my point is, if a switch just got flipped and the power grid went down and the internet went out all at once, and you had no idea when that's coming back up. Here's my question. How are you going to call somebody? How are you going to call somebody and tell them, hey, I'm over here at this park. I tried to crank my car and it didn't work. And, how are you going to get in touch with someone? That's my main question. How are you going to get in touch with someone? You may be kind of far from home. And if you're on the beach and you come off the beach and you get into your car, if you've got one of those very fancy cars that is all hooked up with the internet, you may get in, it may crank, I don't know, but you'll find that the GPS doesn't work, and you're like, something's going on. You tried to call home and say, I'm on my way home, but the phone doesn't work in your car. Your cell phone is not working. What are you gonna do? You're in the grocery store and you're getting ready to pay for your food or whatever your purchases are, and suddenly, boom, you're in Walmart. The lights just go out and the power is out, and you've got all your food ready that you just shopped for an hour for your family, and they tell you, I'm sorry, but you can't buy anything right now because the power is out, the internet is out. What are you gonna do? You go to the gas station and you sat in line at Costco to get the cheaper gas, and when you got to the tank, all of a sudden the power went out. The internet went down. You can't swipe your Costco card. You can't swipe your debit card to get your gas. Your tank is sitting on empty. And you probably have just enough gas to get home, and that's it. After that, you're going to be sitting with a car with no gas in the tank, sitting in your driveway. What are you going to do? This is so serious. We have to think ahead. And, they may even tell you in some of these places, you can only buy it if you have cash. We can't swipe your card. None of that is going to work because the internet's out, but we will take cash. Okay, this is why I say it's wise to have some cash on you. And it's also wise to always have your ID on you. Always. Yes, sirree. Right now, especially if you're a person of color, you better have some ID on you that proves that you are an American citizen. Have your driver's license or something on you. You don't have to carry all your credentials on you, but you need to have something where somebody challenges you, you can pull out a picture ID and say, yeah, this is me, Our world is changing. So don't just let all of the craziness wash over you without you considering some important things. So I've been walking for a minute here, and I have to stop and check my steps. And I'm going to come back around to this little gazebo area. It's a little gazebo. That's kind of neat. I really am liking this park. Today there's a family here for the first time. When I came before, there was no one here at all. And there's a family here today. And it looks like the mom is walking around the track like me, and the kids are playing on the swings. It's such a beautiful thing, when people are actually using the park. And this is a nice one. So I am going to pause right here. In just 1 minute, I'm going to go around to this other bench, because this one right here is in the sun. But there's one over there that's in the shade. When I get over there, I'm going to check and see how many steps I have in thus far. I always want my morning walk to be at least 5,000 steps. So I have the hope of getting 10,000 in by the end of the day. There's a kitty right there. Can you see him? Calls itself being incognito. I see you. Yep. All right, here we go. Coming up on the seat in the trash can. I'm gonna take a little break. Okay, I'm back. I have put in 5,273 steps thus far today, according to my pedometer. And so I am going to, I'm going to sign off. I've had a lot of blah, blah, blah talking today. I hope something I said made you think, made you consider, made you consider whether or not the preps that you think you've done are really gonna cut it. And yeah, don't be lost. Don't be lost either way. Don't be lost because you don't know who Jesus Christ is and have him and have accepted him and been baptized and received his spirit into your own soul, into your own heart. Don't be lost. That's one way to be lost. But another way to be lost is just to be a clueless person who just cannot see the forest for the trees, can't see the writing on the wall. That the world is changing. You have to diversify. You have to learn some basic skills. Don't be lost. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing and telling a friend. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being my accountability partners. Isn't it nice having little kid voices in the background? That's comforting to me. So it's a blessing to me to have accountability partners. Thank you for being my accountability partners. And as my weight starts sliding down the scale, I'll probably give you a screenshot of my scale right now. I'm not too excited about showing what my scale looks like, but I've been taking pictures. I'll show you eventually. In the meantime, be blessed. Take care of yourself. Look up. Look up because your redemption draweth nigh. Look up. Can you see it? It's the moon. See you next time.